Hello, welcome back to Winds of Tilly. Today we went to Packwood Airport in Washington. We landed on runway 19, which is at 2,356 feet by 38 feet. Great asphalt runway at a 1,000 feet of elevation, right below Mt Rainier in a beautiful valley. Here we are approaching the valley from the south, so we're heading north. Kind of hard to see, but we had Rainier right in front, which is majestic and beautiful. We overflew close to Mount St. Helens on approach, which is a wonderful sight. We went up the valley and we actually had climbed to 5,700 feet really in order to clear some high terrain. And so we descended down this valley. We started the descent a little early. Pattern is at about 2,100 feet. So we had a bit of time to descend. So as you see the little hill in front, the airport is right behind it. So we couldn't see it right away, but we knew it was there. The first thing we saw was the old sawmill, the old wood treating plant, which I'm familiar with because I do some SEC racing. We race there, and you should be able to see it right there. Here as we turn a corner, we actually saw the airport. There it is in front of us. We entered left downwind. The wind in this valley always, or almost always, favors runway 19. So we enter a left downwind. As you see here, we slowed down the video. You have the wood treating plant, a huge parking lot, and then the airport is on the left side. Packwood is an absolute must destination for everyone. The town is wonderful. There's a ton of options for lunch. There's even a campground attached to the airport, so if you want to spend the night, actually, you might as well stay at the campground. I stayed there once, and it was very pleasant. Here with a wing camera, you can see the airport. You can see the windsock at that moment and get an idea of the winds. Today, they were definitely favoring 19. Maybe with about 5 knots. It was a little shifting, but it wasn't too bad. So the terrain is very uneven up Packwood, so you really have to gauge your approach. As we were coming down, Musa and I, the terrain there is a little higher. It's even higher on the approach, so you want to set up for a good glide slope. Here we went a little bit long on the downwind to give us room for the final. We will be turning base in a moment, and with a high wing, then you can't see the runway. But the terrain is higher there, so you'll feel like you're lower than you need to be, but you're really okay. I ended up start putting my flaps in because I know that I need to descend once I'm at that point, so I set myself up. As a matter of fact, it will maybe feel like you're a little low, but actually the terrain is a bit higher here than it is down by the airport. You will see as we turn final that there are a lot of tall trees, but also there is a bit of a hill. And there are some tall trees that you'll have to fly relatively close to on a glide slope down to the runway. Here we are looking straight down the runway. The terrain is a little higher here. I keep repeating myself. Moose was getting antsy. She really was hoping that she could get down and get out and run around, which she did. We did go to town, got some cookies. I put 3 notches of flap, which is generally what I do in these type of landing. As you see, as we're coming down, I had to come close to the trees that are on the left side. Otherwise, you'll end up being a little high. See how relatively close we were, and then continued, and actually my slope was perfect. We were initially a little fast, but we actually slowed down perfectly. The runway is long enough with almost 2,400 feet. As a matter of fact, we were able to land in maybe approximately half of the runway. Not the greatest landing there again. I wish I would have just greased it, but it wasn't too bad. We actually came to a stop relatively quickly, and turn around. Even though you can taxi back on the grass next to the runway, just in case there's a lot of traffic. One time I had to do that. It's a lot easier, obviously, to backtrack on the runway, as that surface is absolutely smooth. It's beautiful. Parking is on the what would that be? The northeast end. And so you get off here on this grass. There's an asphalted pad with some tie downs, and I prefer parking right there. It's maybe a teeny bit easier to leave the airplane there and start again from there. So we shut it down. Moose was happy. There she is. She got to run around. Mt Rainier. Yeah, absolutely. Mt Rainier. We are just in the shadows of Mt Rainier. Moose cannot wait to go run around. We put our leash on and went to town. Here's the sign. Welcome to Packwood. Fantastic little town. There's a brewery, a pizza place, some good burger places. Moose and I stopped at a coffee shop that had great cookies. We shared a sneakerdoodle on the way back. One piece for me, one piece for her. Here's the runway seen from the ground. And a 360 view. I can't say enough how beautiful it is. There's Rainier right there. A little intimidating when you're first trying to go because the trees at the end, but they're easy to clear. Miss loves exploring. And then the nose wants to sniff what's out here. And by the way, the runway is lit. Alright, here we go. After a little tour in town, we came back, fired up, and got a little run up down there on the pad, and then lined up. I only used one notch of flap since the runway was 2,400 feet, and off we went. I think I might have used maybe half the runway. I don't force the airplane off the ground if I don't have to. It just wants to climb on its own, as you see. With just one notch of flaps, this airplane wants to go. On the way back, we just headed down the valley for a little while. I wanted to check out a little bit the valley. And eventually we made our turn and flew right by Mount St. Helens, which is one of the most amazing sights in this area. Just make sure you're aware of the rules and regulations. You gotta fly pretty high around it. But what a beautiful area this is. As you notice, the river going down is spectacular. So much green, so many trees. Well, we really were able to take advantage of a beautiful April day and head out that way. I think we had temperatures in the 70s. Well, that was Packwood, Washington, in the middle of the Cascade Mountains. And I hope someday you'll be able to join me on another one of these adventures. I would love to have you guys along with me. Otherwise, I do hope that we will be able to see you on our next adventure. Well, that's all for now. So long.